To some professional StarCraft 2, the ESL Open Cup finals of the Clem Weekly. Here on Europe number 70 of these great competitions between the best of the best to sort them out from the best of the rest. Let me first introduce the young Frenchman. The one who confirms to you that Terran is just as hard as you convince your friends it is. And maybe even worse or better than that. For Team Liquid, in the bottom right, it is Liquid Clem. I think I said Liquid like 3 or 4 times there. And while we're not doing our science degree, thermodynamics. Yes. Okay, if you like thermodynamics, like and subscribe. Or, even better, if you like this... Jimmy, come on! We're not selling out right... We'll sell out later. Yes, I know. Link the OnlyFans. Edit that out. in the bottom left. The man nicknamed The Wall. D. Mauer, the German Protoss player. Is it his time? I don't know. But definitely it is Showtime. A shield Protoss up with the best of them. You don't get called The Wall for your aggressive playstyle, believe it or not. Nicknames make some sense usually in StarCraft 2. But these two players, now, Big Gabe, in all his enormous and incomprehensible wisdom, has essentially ceded his control of the European ESL Open Cup to Clem, as Clem has, well, I mean, we can call it whatever we want, but it's been a hostile takeover by the Frenchman, who seems to win more often than not. Showtime has been the antagonist ever since the beginning. I remember in like the first 15 European ESL Cups, it was Hero Marine versus Showtime like 7 times. About half of the first Cups. And that still could, like, Showtime's still here. He's still bringing it home because second place still gets you a chunk of change, and even more with partnering with Shopify, doubling the prize pool, starting with the one after this, by the way. So, to whoever wins this best of 5, a little unlucky, but I'm sure both of them will be in this position again. And now let's be a little more specific. What position are we in here? Clem coming in with his trademark Reaper. He's the best of the best out there. Him and Beyond kind of go back and forth on who can get the most out of those Reapers. They've been inspiring Diamond Terran players to over-micro their Reaper for half a decade at least. Ever since Beyond essentially won BlizzCon. In no small part because of his almost is disgusting, his inspiring, his... There you go. But it wasn't complicated what he did. But somehow... Clem. Oh. Alright, wait. He doesn't live through this. Okay. He manages to dodge. He gets a spot on the 3rd. Stargate is on the way. We're on Blackburn with the closer vertical positions, which means it's a little easier to make air units work, despite the bubulas slowing things down outside. The map. So, you can expand away from your opponent. This is the key point. This is... Well, 1, why air units are such a big factor, and 2, why this map plays out differently, and also because there are gold bases, there's a lot of rocks, and those slow zones that affect a lot of things. Triple Adept gonna shade in, looking to combine with Oracles, but Clem already has more than enough Marines. He's opted for a 2 racks play, which means an early bio push, which up against someone who's gone for Stargate means they're not going to have that much on the ground. Clem's going to have a couple medevacs, Stim, and a Viking in support. Are we going to see some Widowmines? I'm not sure what's coming out of the factory. 4 Adept shading it now. Without Oracles, not enough to fight, but enough to keep Clem on his toes. So, a bit of a disjointed attack here. Remember, Clem knows exactly when that 3rd base was built. So he knows But this attack is essentially... He was already going this direction. I don't know how much he tweaked it, how much he adapted it, based on what Showtime was doing. There's not much you can do once you've already laid down the second racks, but the timing of moving out here. Right, the third base just finished. It's been mining for 10 seconds. It'll be less than a minute by the time the Marines get here. So Clem going to be showing up before the third base has really kicked in at all. It's a liability. Is he going to see? Oh no. Not the oldest trick in the book, but that kind of should have been obvious to Clem. He just did not factor in the stasis. I'm sure he will now, but that really takes a lot of weight. He sees it. He knows. He's watching. But it's a little late. Oh my god! Oh. Well, the Marine manages to dodge the stasis by dying. Well, Clem has found a creative way to circumvent it. He dunks onto the stasis, going for the drop, but Showtime is watching. Meanwhile, Viking hits the deck. And now for one of the rarest sights. The landed Viking will be lifted and killed by Phoenixes, which is just something that we don't get to see happen as often as I'd like. Showtime, though, holding the line. He has got shield batteries set up explicitly to defend. He's using the Phoenixes to cover his main. And Clem has been stuffed at every turn. Like, I thought he had a good timing. I think everyone involved thought he had a good timing. But Showtime took... It seems... Oh, come... Clem. He's not gonna fall for that. Right? Like, this is such a... Like, this is the least effort bait. Oh my god. He's just waiting for it. But at this point, I think he's a little... And why wouldn't you be salty about the stasis? He's salty about the stasis. Okay, he picks up the Widow Mines. Showtime did not take the bait. Of course, he didn't know about the bait. So, he's still trying it. Like, he's still going. He's gonna force the issue here. Oh, but Oracle knocked out. And he'll keep the third intact. So, lucky him. Clem now still, like... It's not like he slowed down. He didn't lose his units. He just wasn't able to get damage done, which gave Showtime a little bit of extra breathing room to get more tech out. But look at the production tab. He's got a Robo Bay on the way. He's got a Templar Archives finishing. You know what that means? Neither of those are going to be factoring in right now. It's just gateway units with +1 armor against a bio army with a lot of Widow Mines, as well as a solid chunk of +1 bio. This is another opportunity for Clem to potentially push through. Shield battery overcharge is used. He's going to get his money's worth for it. Liberator's going to help protect the Widow Mines. This is more than enough to strip away the shields and probably most of the life of those zealots. Shield battery overcharge waited out. The natural looking like a potential target, but Clem's got to be careful. There are some force fields. Showtime is holding on to it. He's got +1 attack closing in, but Clem is pushing the issue. Liberator's moving up. Another revelation. Gonna see all of those, like he can see the Widow Mines, but how does he stop him? Clem just stims into the natural. The force fields encourage him to do so. Phoenix is trying to draw the mines in, but instead just gonna die themselves. The Widow Mines find huge connections. Showtime plummets in supply. Clem puts himself into a corner, but he's not boxed in. He's not the one in danger here. Showtime just not able to keep the units together. Clem finds the angle. Another warping of zealots will help, but not nearly enough. Clem with a relatively clinical breakthrough. He waited. He did what a lot of Terrans struggle to do. And sometimes Clem, but he waited. Like, he didn't say, I have to kill his third, I have to do damage. He didn't press the issue. But instead, he pulled back, he took his third, he took the economic hit. So that way he could punch back with his army. And all it takes is being a little bit out of position. And Clem's gonna jump on you. And not in a good way. And now it makes it weird. But Game 2. After that, like, Blackburn, there's several maps in the current map pool. Mid-2021. What year is it? I don't know. But there's several maps that require kind of their own style. This is another one. Like, Romanticide is a very defensible standard 3-base map. Like, you've got your choice of third. There's no... It's essentially cut from the standard template. There's a few little details, like there's a rich Vespine Geyser at the 4th, or potentially 4th, depending on which order you go for. A few mineral walls mixed in. But Blackburn, you have to cover a lot of awkward angles. And Showtime, while the Stargate is good for that, like the Stargate gives you a lot of utility, oracles can help slow down and keep track of bio pushes. If you invest too much in the Stargate, you're just not going to have enough on the ground. And the Stargate didn't really do much besides delay Clem. He didn't kill many workers. A stasis stopped the first push. But you saw the delay. Like, he was getting the Templar Archives, he was getting a Robo Bay, he was getting Blink. These are all things that are not cheap. These are all things that if you're not building 5 or 6 Phoenixes, or if you're not building Oracles, you're going to get a lot earlier. Of course, there's other dynamics at play there and all that. It's a pretty complicated... It's actually not a very complicated game, but there's a lot of things that can happen. But the Stargate leaves you vulnerable, and Clem understood that. I'm not sure if he got a spot, because usually if you see a lot of timings historically have revolved around not so much the Robobay, but the Templar Archives. The Templar Archives is a big investment that even needs more investment over time to pay off. Usually you need either to put a lot of gas into Archons, or you go for Storm, which is even more time on top of it. The Robobay is a little more like you almost always have a Robo. Like, you kind of need a Robo, especially with Widow Mines potentially out there. Showtime, I don't know. Is it worth it to not go oversaturated? Because you can go up to 24 workers on a base. You saw you had a couple idle probes there. It's Protoss players like a nice clean base. It's not just for aesthetic reasons, though that's most of Protoss, right? No, don't cut off my nerve cords. I have to cut off your nerve cords. But my nerve cords are my entire identity. That's the problem. Anyways, moving on. Spoilers. Putting together an aesthetically pleasing and concise base as Protoss is not just... it doesn't just look good, it's practical. You need to have the ability to move around your base while still minimizing things like Reapers. You need to have pylons in a certain place that you can warp in easily. But also, how many times have you found yourself, for those who have managed to actually play the game, like, I want to build 5 gateways, and this pylon is just not going to make that happen. It's a real Bronze League hero strat to just slap a pylon down in order to build a ring of gateways around it. Or more likely, forget why you put that pylon there and then just add more pylons, because who doesn't love pylons? But I got sidetracked. So did Clem. Clem, focusing on the Reaper. Well, actually no. I'm not gonna put Clem in the same boat as me right here. We're not even like... Clem is flying a fighter jet, whereas I'm paddling a canoe. Why are we doing either of those things? I don't know, but that's what's happening. So let's just make no mistake. And so far, Showtime, not making any mistakes significantly with the Oracle. Just losing that much HP isn't great, but he still got the Oracle. He sees it's a Cyclone, and now this is true. Listen closely, a Cyclone, not a Widow Mine. Okay. That is, besides the Cyclone itself, the not Widow Mine aspect of a Cyclone is the very key point. Showtime agrees. You know how I know? 2 forges. If it was Widow Mines, I doubt we'd see 2 forges right now. We'd likely see a robotics facility, but he doesn't need potential detection. He doesn't need something to spot what's coming out. Just seeing a 3rd command center. That was the most important point. Seeing a 3rd command center as well as a Cyclone means Clem, the best chance he has to move out is a bunch of unstim, uncombat shielded, raw Marines. And even Clem's probably not going to risk that until at least stim is finished. So Showtime is going to compete economically, as you might expect he would. Nope, not a good time. He's gonna continue threatening. Like, this is more scouting. This is active scouting. Revelation on the Marines. And Showtime is now filling in the blanks. He's got a robotics facility on the way. He's got 1-1 started. Twilight Council done. Look at that base. Magnifique. Or as they say in German, gut. Here we are. More bases. More gates on the way. Chrono boosting charge. Clem gonna move out with these Marines, see what he can get done. I don't think Clem is expecting to kill with this, but you got those medevacs. You have the mobility. There's no reason to let a Protoss sit back. You don't want to let a Protoss do what a Protoss wants to do, because what a Protoss wants to do is very uncomfortable for Terran. Okay. Force fields will hold the line. Clem hanging out. I mean, +1's finishing. The fact that Showtime just didn't even try to segment or isolate some units, but instead just walled him out, kind of tells him that, yeah, he's not ready. Like, while he's not going to commit in, maybe, well, he's got +1. The shield batteries are well placed. So, this time, it's the 3rd CC. This time, Showtime's going to get his tech up a little more comfortably. He's getting a 2nd robotics facility. Charge is done. 1-1 is done. The 2nd forge is a key point. But look at the worker count. Look at it. Okay. It's about even. That's the point. Which actually means our Terran player, Liquid Clam, with a few mules added in, is going to have a bit of a mineral income lead more than likely. Not that many zealots here. The bio army is kind of, Well, both sides have a lot of healing of one form or another. Damage mitigation. It's starting to run out, though. Shield battery overcharge is gone. Medevac's running out of energy, and the Stim Marines and Marauders are not in a position to really do much about it. A couple Colossi finishing up, thermal lances being extended. But the poking and prodding, and this is where Clem, I think, is going to get a little wild. All right, Clem's going to get a little spicy. And I like he got his armory on time. He's got 2-2 started. In fact, he's almost even with Showtime. Of course, Chrono Boost is going to help those Protoss upgrades along. But Clem's going to be at a comparable time to Showtime, which is very important. This was spotted. He's just going to dunk right on top. This is a terrible idea. Clem taking a big risk here on the other side. Showtime intercepts. The sentries will be tickling down the medevacs if possible. Other medevacs sent out. Clem's looking for weakness. Widowmine finds both the sentries. So even... Well, actually, one survived. Traumatized. But... So despite Showtime seeing with observers and spotter pylons, like with very good map vision for someone who's being contained, Clem does find an angle to get damage done. Showtime leaves it open. The Widow Mines find some valuable sentries and a couple probes, and Clem maintains the initiative. The thing is, though, do we have a Templar Archives? Showtime. I mean, he's doubling up a Dark Shrine. Oh yes, a classic. Are we going to go with the Double Trouble Templars? He's getting everything. Showtime's extended thermal lance, +2/+2. Clem does not have a window. He's looking like, I'm going to finish 2-2. I'm nearing a max out. It's time to attack. In 10 seconds, Showtime's going to hit a power spike. 10 seconds is pretty long, but when Clem is involved. The Marauder's trying to get damage done. 2-2, finishing at this moment. The charge lots, drawing the Widowmine fire into the Terran army. And Showtime just kind of pushes him back. Yeah. Get off my lawn. So that turned from potentially taking a cost-effective engagement for Clem into Showtime's upgrades finishing perfectly, and Clem just kind of getting beat up. Yeah, Clem, that was about as good as it was going to get for Showtime. Clem didn't commit, but that definitely did not keep the map control. He would, Widowmine. The army being tracked here. Vikings being produced, but only one at a time. A lot of Terrans pretty lackadaisical. Oh, are you gonna shoot the Widow Mine with a disruptor? You're just gonna leave it. Widow Mines. Clem moving in again. I mean, he's maxed out. He's maxed out. There's no reason not to attack. He's not building a late game army. He's getting some ghosts. He's getting some Vikings. But right now, honestly, he wants to trade some of this Marine Marauder for whatever he can get. Ideally powerful units like Disruptors or Colossi. But even shaving down the gateway count or sniping a Nexus is definitely on the table. Clem is not neglecting the late game. Neither is Showtime, who's getting DT Blink and +3/+3. Both sides, like, these exchanges could change the game, but this is both them posturing. If the other makes a big mistake, then somebody will be able to jump and win a fight, but we're behind this. Only 12 minutes in. Clem is building 3 command centers at a time. And DT Blink is on the way as a late-game harassment option. This has been quite a macro game, but finally, an engagement. Some EMPs hit, but the Colossi burning their way across the countryside. A few more EMPs. The army shaved down to a relatively manageable size, but the Colossi got a little lazy here, which means Clem's going to be able to turn the tables on him a bit. The Vikings not really finding... If there's limited anti-air, the Vikings can actually potentially kill the Colossi. Disruptors will help zone out on the ground. Split stem. Those units at half HP. Disruptors not doing a great job of zoning. Where are the Vikings? More Vikings coming in. Colossi is getting knocked over. But the ground army for Clem, well, kind of holding the line. Reinforcements are doing what they need to do. Disruptors are going to have to turn the tides. Blinkstalkers move to the side. Colossi are down for the count. Clem with the slick pickup. Showtime's got to be careful with the Disruptors. The exchanges continue. The armies are smaller, but the stakes are raised. A Disruptor. Both sides dodge it. You can't be too careful. Simmer down. A few more danger balls coming out. Showtime realizing, well, the more that is committed to Vikings and the more that is committed to Ghosts, the more valuable Disruptors are, as Disruptors don't really care too much about either of those things. Not a great split out of Clem, and another shot just blasting apart the Ghosts. 8 of them have gone down thus far to just 1 Disruptor, but you can't forget the 5 Colossi. Both sides, another engagement. DTs. A scan, but gonna kite the DT Blink. Shift to the side. Clem microing. Showtime looking for an opportunity to engage. Still scanning, but the DT Blink eviscerating the Marauders. Showtime moving in on the left flank. DT's continuing forward. Disruptor shot finds a few SCVs, which probably helps Clem in the short run. A few more, but targets down the planetary. It feels like Clem doesn't really have... Oh, I found his army. Here it is. Disruptor shots. Hitting both sides. A little more Clem this time around. Liberators coming out. Is there Liberator range? No. And now I think one of the Liberators just got taken out. The DTs are in the mineral line. Ghost starting to clean it up. Clem dipping in supply. 23 SCVs, leaving him at only 67, which means he had so many SCVs. A planetary command center wall is going to slow Showtime down at the 4th base, and this is kind of a must-hold here for Clem. If he loses this, he's actually going to be at such a significantly lower income, he's not going to be able to continue the fight, even with good cost efficiency. He understands that. He will maintain it for now. That planetary tenuously low, only at half HP. It's Blinkstalker Disruptor. More DTs in from the right flank. Showtime now has a 1,600 income lead, which spans both minerals and gas. Right now, he's mining about 800 more minerals and about 400 more gas every single minute. And though the upgrades are maxed out, those are a lot of valuable units that's the difference between Warpy and DTs and Zealots, pretty much. And right now, Showtime's on a DT economy. What a high roller. Clem is going to chase down some of those expensive but relatively expendable DTs. A volley comes out and down goes the planetary. More shots flinging out. Liberator's a little late to the party. Clem trickling in, but more than enough to stop that is Showtime's army. As I say it, it's just Blink Stalkers. Does he not have Disruptor shots? Incredible split out of Clem. Wait a second. No, he doesn't come back from that. That's too many Disruptors. Those ones, not nearly good enough. Showtime finds the connection. It got a little awkward when it looked like Clem might actually win a fight. But there are just too many. Showtime with a slow grind. Clem not able to find the and that's what happens when you let Showtime hold the line. And that's why Clem was trying to get something done, because just like Clem made it look clinical in Game 1, Showtime in Game 2 kind of, like, you could tell how calm he is. He's got an army knocking at his door. Army knocking at his door. Clem's got 30-40 supply of bio. He's got like 3 sentries, a shield battery, and 6 adepts. If he doesn't land the force fields, he probably loses the game. But, I mean, he's gonna land the force fields. So, in Game 1, I mean, these guys are evenly matched. There's a reason Showtime so consistently makes it this far in ESL Open Cup and other tournaments. Unfortunately, no one really thinks of Showtime as, like, the top player. But in terms of consistency, especially for Protoss, he is near the very top. Like, as Protoss, because of the way Protoss works, you gotta have something at all times. It feels like you have to have a deck of cards. Alright, you've gotta have, if you would. Hey, Jimmy. Where's the... It lessens the impact if it takes too long. Don't worry, it'll be worth it. I swear we had something for this. A trap card in your deck. Because of the way Protoss works. Where... Oh my god, this is happening. We're going to talk about this in a moment. But it's very hard to kind of do the same style in a best of 5, a best of 7. Because Terran and Zerg have an easier time just kind of doing a consistent style with small adaptations. As Protoss, it's like, I'm going Stargate. I'm going Robo. They're very different. Let alone wherever you place them. By the way, so Clem Engineering Bay blocked Showtime, giving Showtime a little taste of that Protoss versus Zerg medicine, to which Showtime embraced his inner Zerg and just took his third. Cool as a particularly chill cucumber. I mean... The one thing that's somewhat interesting to me is he took the triangle third. I guess that's a little closer to the main. Usually the typical third to be taken by Protoss is the I guess horizontal or the straight line third. I don't know. Have we never set up? This is definitely the triangle third. This is the linear third. There you go. Simple geometry. About as simple as you can get. Technically, you could protect this somewhat from your main as well. And also, that's his second base, not his third at this moment. I think I know where he's going to take his third, though. I have a good guess. Clem's main. All right, let's get that Clem kind of delayed his expand a little bit in order to get the NG Bay block and get these barracks up. Well, the barracks were built after the expo, but just... Oh, wait, what? Hello? Well, Clem was off to... he was really trying to throw off Showtime's build. And then Showtime just shades a couple of depths in his base. There were already Hellions out on the map because he had built those 2 Hellions off the reactor. But... Well, both players off to a bit of an awkward start. We're not going to have the cookie cutter, perfect, like mapped out macro build this game. It just can't happen. Because, no, it's just an awkward start. The Hellions fine. 6 probes. Despite the shield battery, he was maximizing the damage. He exhausted the energy of the shield battery and burnt through the probes. So at the end of the day, Showtime plummets 9 probes to an 8 probe lead. He has been quite diligent about producing them. Showtime also picked up 4 SCVs with that first attack and probably could get some more. Overall, yeah, a bit uncharted territory here, where we're going to end up with the Stargate versus medevac timing. But the way we got here has been a little confusing. Does he see it? Does he see it? Does it matter if he sees it? I think he sees it. Oh! Okay, well, there you go. No, is the answer. He did not. I was wondering if he was going to do the fancy shade out trick that requires pinpoint timing. No, he just... Better an adept than an oracle. Don't tell the adepts that. Yeah, it does look like an oracle did get into the main, killing a handful of SCVs and making a few very uncomfortable, as it do. There were some specific changes years ago that made it so adepts and oracles can't slaughter SCVs quite as easily as they do the other workers, just because of math that we'll never get into.
The numbers don't lie, and they spell
it seems like, despite everything that happened, despite all the turmoil, we're going to have shield batteries along the front line and Showtime with Stargate units and a few force fields to defend himself against a Terran army stimming at the door. We're going to end up in this position. Clem with a significant worker deficit. He does not have a third command center. He does not have really any follow-up besides more Marines, more Marauders, more medevacs, and some mines. There is no third on the way, though he's sending an SCV with 1 HP. He's got a lot of battle experience of being shot at. Clem trying to stim in. Force fields used. Trying to let him through a choke point. Should be taking that CC in a moment. I think Clem has to realize. Yeah, there you go. He's probably not going to end it here. You got to keep trying. You got to keep going for it. Do we see a shield battery overcharge? Yes. As Clem retreats. So, not a bad scenario at all. For Clem, rather. Oh, no. No! No! Well, this changes things. 7 kills. And 1 forces the Blink Stalkers. Widow Mines ruining plans again. 7 kills with Clem taking a third. That was the perfect timing for that to happen. Showtime was about to comfortably get into the rest of the tech tree. He was about to get more gates up. He's got to get +1. He's got a robo on the way. But losing 7 probes and being forced to continue oh no. I'm sorry, losing 15 probes is gonna make everything a little bit tougher. Clem finding the opportunities. And that, at this level, that is oftentimes how it goes. It's not so much the Widow Mine drop a rush or anything like that. It's, if you can catch them looking the other direction, well, there goes your economy. And now Showtime, who was once in a comfortable position to build up his unit composition, add in probably Colossi, and continue reinforcing gateway units. Oh my god, the pre-scan in the main. Showtime knows. The beauty of this is Showtime knows the threat. He knows at any point Clem might pick up and go to the main. But there's only so much you can do. Clem, by scanning the main, has now forced Showtime to respect this. And now he has stalkers on both sides. Of course, will he blunk down is the question. Clem is forcing both angles to be reinforced, which increases the likelihood one will be a little bit underappreciated. Oh, but here comes Showtime snipes a medevac. No units in it, but anything he can get. He needs a few wins now, because the worker count, the economy, is not what it once was. 2 or 3 Widow Mines have seen today. To that. We're enunciating today of all days. Targeting some Marauders. The Rubble Bay isn't done. Charge is on the bright side, but Clem's about to have 1-1. Clem has the army. This is actually a big problem here for Showtime. He's about to be on just gateway units against better upgraded bio, with plenty of medevacs. Oh my god, another Widow Mine! And it just scampers away! Like, it didn't just murder 6 innocent probes! To which we ask, like, are probes ever innocent? And the answer is obviously not, but metaphorically. And suddenly Clem, just like that, is in a worker lead with a better army. One thing. Well, he does have an armory. What am I saying? What am I saying that I never said? I didn't finish the sentence, but he has an armory done. Oftentimes, you get stuck on this Bioforce, you get stuck on 1-1. But no, Clem has an armory done, which means that Widow Mines require detection even after firing, as well as able to start 2-2. It's going to be quicker than Showtime. Showtime has the +2 attack on the way, but he only has 1 forge working right now. The most important thing, though, are the 2 Colossi popping out. Once again, Showtime with the double robo. He's going to need it. Extended Thermal Lance is on the way, and with the +2, he's going to have a real effective force up against the Bio Army. Once there's a couple Colossi with +2, it's going to become a lot harder for Clem to poke and prod without losing a significant chunk of his army. We saw that last game. Oof. You can tell Showtime thrown off. He's gone from very comfortable to missing a blink away from a Widow Mine, which is not a kind of mistake that players usually make at this level. A small Bioforce, trying to draw units away, succeeding beautifully. The upgrades aren't there. There's no splash damage, no medevacs though, and with a Guardian Shield, Showtime's ragtag band of gateway units look like they might be just enough to drive this back. Looks like an Observer or Revelation still using those Oracles, doing a great job of it. 4th base is on the way though for Clem, whereas Showtime is desperate to get his up and running. Those important upgrades are finishing. Showtime's going to have Colossi. He's up against Vikings, but he's going to have Colossi with Thermal Lance and +2. He's throwing some Disruptors into the mix. This army is in a bit of a tenuous position. Great force field. Going to force a lot of units to run around. Shave off a bunch of Marauders and force Clem into retreat. At least for now. Can't quite go up that ramp. The Ghost Academy has technically been spotted by an Observer. Not that I'm sure that's a huge factor right now. Observer's got decent coverage. Double Disruptor with a Templar Archives in the mail. Just an exploratory shot. Very unlucky Marine. Discovers that Disruptors are indeed on the field. Clem working around. Showtime has to defend the wall. Defend himself. EMP lands. Hits several. A decent clump of the units. Widow Mines make it harder to shave off a couple, and guess who's here? Widow Mines, we're back! And we're more annoying than ever. Gets a Stalker, gets a couple probes. Those things aren't particularly expensive. Clem keeping Showtime on his toes, and even then, still finding opportunities. Gets a Ghost, but Clem with a beautiful concave. 2-2 done. Vikings closing the distance. Shield battery overcharged. Shield battery targeted. A lot of damage done to Clem's army, though. What did I say about enunciating? Clem stepped a little too far. He got the battery. He got the Colossi, but at what cost? It looked pretty good right up until you realized how much damage those Colossi did before they went down, and now there's still Disruptors on the table. A lot of the critical mass, the Ghosts, and many of the mines went down with that army. Clem has lost his bullying army, the army that can move around the map and force Showtime to respond. There's no longer the unit count to split your units and have Showtime stay at home. And that means Showtime, 1, can, and 2, should be sending some units out on the map. He has to recognize that he won that fight to an extent. Which means Clem is down in units, and now is a very important time to get something done. He's staying at home. He's getting a 5th base. He's expanding to the other side. Well, there's not much opportunity to expand to the left side now. But there's nothing heading out on the map, which means Showtime only feels comfortable consolidating his position. And now remember, obviously Showtime knows better than me. And also, last game was won by getting up to 200 supply with a better army. Terran players really try to keep that from happening. The map is dark, though, and full of Terran. Showtime has to know. You can't let Terrans hang out in your backyard, because then they murder your economy. And as many other things as they can get a hold of. DT Blink is nearly done. Was that a snipe we just saw? Showtime is about to take an uncharacteristically risky and dramatic move. There is no missile turret. Not that I think a missile turret would make much of a difference. Shadow Stride is complete, which means it's time to make a planetary disappear. Clem has no opportunity. Showtime jumps the army simultaneously, takes out a base, and bullies back an entire army. The Vikings are caught. They're landing into disruptor hits. Clem comes back. Vikings knocked out by disruptors, not their usual target. Triple shot. Finds full connection, and suddenly, just like that, the 1-2 punch. Showtime. He didn't throw the first punch, but he threw the last one. Showtime with the DT Blink into Stalker Blink into Disruptor shots on the army wipes out all parts of Clem's game simultaneously in a blitzkrieg attack. And suddenly, Clem is now down 2-1. He picks his moment. There were some rough moments, for sure, to use the same word again, but Showtime is patient, which is definitely a bit uncharacteristic as Protoss. You're used to thinking of Protoss as someone who will act, and then maybe question whether their actions were really a smart move at the time. Or maybe I'm just talking about partying in general. I'm not sure. But it does seem like there's a majority of Protoss, YOLO-toss, who have really asked themselves the question more whether they could, significantly more than whether they should. Showtime is almost the opposite of that. Like you heard me saying, he should do some damage to Clem. He now has the chance to move out on the map. I don't know why Showtime isn't moving out on the map. Showtime's like, could you give me a second? Shadow Stride takes a while to complete. Planetary gone, army gone, game gone, match point. So I feel a little vindicated. I was right. Showtime should get some damage done on the other side. It's just he was a bit more decisive than I expected. So far, the probe, no probe is innocent. There's no such thing as an innocent probe. Oh my god. Oh no! Do it. Come on, pull the Marine didn't even try to come down. He may be hiding the Marine intentionally, or he may have forgotten about it. But, because seeing that there is no Reaper means you can go across the map with your first adept. If there is the potential for a Reaper, like, if Showtime sees that Marine, he doesn't need to build a shield battery in his mineral line. He doesn't need to chrono boost an adept, though he probably would anyways. If there's no Reaper, all those early game precautions become essentially obsolete. Now Showtime isn't doing much of that. But either way, hiding information. It's a quite a high stakes poker game. Yeah. Is he looking for SCVs in his base? And waiting for a potential. Oh, it's a Hellion drop build. Okay, Clem. Interesting. Up against another Stargate. It looks like Stargate is back in style. Stargate, it's kind of like 3cc builds for Terran, where a lot of the time it's in style, it's in meta, but there is a percentage, like it just drops. Every once in a while somebody figures out that the Twilight Council is pretty good, and people do that for a while. It's like, oh, Blank Stalkers are still good? Okay. But eventually we land back at the Stargate because it just offers... Okay, yeah, this... Clem actually really seems... Huh. It seemed like he was really struggling to, microwave that Hellion. He just loses that Hellion. It's a bit sloppy. I mean, Showtime should have never lost those at depths. That was a terrible fight, but... I'm really surprised Clem lost that Hellion. He could have easily pulled away. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Clem, seeing there's no pylon. Like, there's no shield battery. Uh-oh. He picks up the Hellions! Oh! Oh my god, he dodges the Oracle. Oh, does he just win the game? Oh my god. Oh, pick it up. Nope. Well, I mean, he's not gonna... Oh wait, there's still a Hellion in the main. How? Wait, what? How does this even happen? Does he have the energy? Yes, but like, all of the energy on all the Stargate units. Oh my. Wow. Okay, well that went disgustingly well for Clem. That it couldn't have gone much worse for Showtime there. Showtime was trying to cut a few corners, and he ended up being the one bleeding at the end. Yeah, that's not good. That's very bad. There's a couple Cyclones as a basic defense. So Showtime went 1 Stargate, 3 Nexus, effectively. He's gonna get away. When he saw the Hellions, I assume, is what made him feel safe enough. Because he did see the Hellions with the Adepts. He just took a almost unacceptable amount of damage to him on the other side. I don't know. He was definitely not expecting the drop. With 3 Nexi, though, he's gonna be able to replenish the probes. But believe it or not, probes, not free. Not free. You do have to pay for them, and that is going to cut into any opportunity to add a robo, to get upgrades, which he's still struggling with. Clem, on the other hand, is comfortably... I'm surprised we don't even have a 3rd CC yet. I mean, he's got his 3 racks up. He's getting a couple medevacs. He'll probably move out with those medevacs. He's got Stim, Combat Shield, +1. The triple threat that you'll see in almost... the vast majority of Terran games. You'll see a timing based around medevacs and all those useful bio upgrades. It depends. Sometimes you get Stim first and then Combat Shield. Sometimes you go with the double Tech Lab. Whatever floats your boat. Which is most things here on 2000 Atmospheres. But this... Well, when you see Stim and Combat Shields and medevacs, that's a timing. That's a timing. That's the difference. Otherwise, it's just trying to put on... Oh, whoa, 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 whoa!
That's a fucking 50 DKP minus!
Okay, well, those Hellions were bad, but losing any Phoenixes there... He scans for the stasis. Didn't actually kill it, awkwardly. Gonna get it now. And now I mean, the shield battery overcharge reaches just far enough. No guardian shield, but charge is done. Is it enough? The Oracle adding some damage. Showtime by the skin of his non-existent Protoss teeth. Seems like he may at least drive it back. I don't know if there's going to be enough to shut it down. It seems like Clem is comfortable with the damage dealt. Showtime does hold. That shield battery placement just perfect enough to reshield the Phoenix that picked up a tank. Oh, there's no energy. He just, that second, got the energy for a pickup, so he couldn't get the mine. There's only like 3 Marines there. There's next to no anti-air. Clem been trying to bait out Widow Mines this entire series. The most successful Widow Mines Clem has had are not the ones that he's tried to be very sneaky about. They're the ones that just kind of walk in at random times, or seemingly random times. Like, he walked in on Lightshade, walking into Showtime's third, boom, 8 probe kills. He just walked with his little Widow Mine, he scampered menacingly, as Widow Mines do. So, we should see some more of that. Clem with a dangerous army here. He's adding... well, there goes 1 SCV. There's a decent amount of Protoss here, but that's quite a choke point, especially with bunkers being added on. You can't really let the bunkers finish, but at the same time, like, the tanks aren't... Well, here we go. Not waiting for +1. Gonna take the Widow Mine hits, the Phoenixes. Well, the charge lot's at the back, a little late on the draw here. A Liberator shows up to the party. Archon's getting involved. Liberator taking some damage, another Archon doing more. Clem able to spread and stim his bio army, and that's when the fight turns. Showtime lost his focus on the main pack of bio, and they come back out for blood. Or whatever it is the Protoss have. I'm not a xenobiologist. I'm a mildly competent commentator. I hope, most days. Speaking of mildly competent, Showtime still holding on, but it's a losing battle. There's nothing coming, like there's no damage on the other side. The worker count is not great. Shield battery overcharge doesn't last forever, though as a Terran it feels like it. And Clem already has a 4th finishing. The one thing Clem doesn't have is an armory. He's finishing it now. He's not going to have 2-2. Super quick. He's not going to have a huge advantage, or an advantage at all there, but I don't know if the game will get that far. As he's pounding on the 3rd Nexus, we're quickly reaching... Showtime's going to try to get another overcharge. If he can get 1 more shield battery overcharge, well... Ain't nobody got time for that. Maybe pick up the tanks. Gets both. Guns 1. The other tank actually going to be taken out. The tank picked back up, and suddenly, Showtime with Archons, Guardian Shield. The medevacs are dying, which means these units can't kite forever. He's down to 1 medevac. It costs him a lot of the Marauders, but Showtime, he halts. But at what cost and for how long? Another army. More medevacs. More stim. It's not about how many Marines and Marauders die. It's about how many replace them. And Clem's Red Army keeps stimming across the map. Almost never at full HP, because that's a sign of weakness. I stim at least once when I wake up, and once when I go into battle, and once more if I survive it. Every good Terran stims 3 times every day. Clem abides by that. I don't think that's on purpose. Yeah. A rare misclick. Showtime desperately needs a 4th. He's money out of his main. You can't just let Clem take the whole map. You gotta try something. Warp Prism ate a Widow Mine hit, but isn't dead. Key point. Those tanks finding damage. Looks like a target fire somewhere in there, but the charge lot's in the main. That's something. It's gonna cost Showtime the 4th. He's down double army supply. There's just so much bio. He doesn't have 2-2, it's 1-2. That helps the charge lots a bit. But the Robo, all of the splash damage, the entire water park here is vulnerable. There's just not enough units. Clem is grinding him down. Archon's dangerous. But for all they're puffing and huffing, they don't have very much range. They really got to get up close and personal to unleash that pent-up psionic energy that we all have inside. The way it goes. War Prism coming back in. It's like, I've been treading water on this cast for a while now. Because it really, like, Showtime has been losing. And he's been one bad fight away from dead for about 6 minutes. So... yet here we are. Oh my god, the stop position. At what point? Oh, a disruptor? That can... not gonna be enough. EMP hits Archons. I mean... oh, an Archon at 1 HP! Oh, well, check that off your bingo cards. The Templar Archives, the Robo Bay, in case anyone cares after that. Clem is... like, Showtime has made it a fight. He's made Clem work for it. Because remember, even though Clem wins this game, we go to game 5. And maybe, I doubt it. I doubt the 400 APM, like, bleeding edge of Terran bio micro player is going to get tuckered out. Okay. But there's something to be said, I guess. A great game out of Clem. The Hellion, like the fact that Showtime lived another 10 minutes after the Hellions is the real story. He lived a painful and traumatic life, but he lived. And now we have to determine who dies. Game 5 of the European ESL Open Finals, number 70. Here. Will Clem continue his rampage throughout Europe and indeed the world? Or will Showtime wall off well enough to stop him? I think there's an argument to be made, especially recently, that Clem is closing in. I think we got DreamHack summer coming up. Or is it spring? I don't know what they call it. DreamHack May. Anyways. If Clem wins that, I would lean towards him as the best player in the world. I know there's a lot of details and a lot of matchups, but he's right there. It's been a little bit, I think, since we've had a Terran be quite so dominant. We've had great Terrans, great Protoss, but the Zergs have had a near monopoly on significant titles for the last several years. So we'll see what Clem and Maru and Trap and Zest can put together going forward. Oh yeah, by the way, a Mecha Rex. One of the oldest tricks in the Terran book. You pretend a proxy, and then you just build it at your natural, where it's going to be defended just fine. And you get them to freak out. Showtime scouted it nearly immediately. He saw there was only one gas in the main. It'd be very weird to just do a straight-up proxy with only one gas. I mean, technically you could do it. It's still going to be weird. But Showtime has seen this many, many times before. Does not panic and does not worry. Stargate 545. Every game opening up. Showtime embracing his inner Terran. Using the same build order. Every game of a series, or the same opener. That is. And by that I mean, of course, like what direction you go with your very early tech. Obviously, as Terran, you only have so many options. Everything comes out of that barracks factory in Starport. Protoss is a little more... Their tech tree branches out in different ways a lot of the time. So this is a knee breaker build, which... If Clem just wins, I will be upset. But the thing is, probes can kind of kill this. Yeah, Showtime... Well, the Adept is kind of stuck. He's going to target. There's an Oracle on the way. Marauders don't even kill probes that effectively, so... this is a little awkward. Nobody here really hits very hard. They're hitting each other with, like, particularly, like, uncomfortable, like off-brand $3 at Walmart pillows. So, it makes people uncomfortable. He intimidates that Marauder into dying with the Oracle. I think really what happened was he had it rallied out, and then he realized he didn't need to waste the energy. So 4 probes die, but at the same time, Clem has an incredibly limited tech tree here. He's got 2 barracks, going on 3, and the tech lab itself is actually a little bit vulnerable. I don't think Showtime's going to try to commit to that. He's going to maneuver his Adepts around to work with the Oracle. If the Marines move too far away from the turret, and the Oracle comes in, burns them up, second Oracle not going to make things easier. SCVs have to be pulled. Stim is done, but I'm not sure that actually helped. Wait a second. Yeah, don't do drugs, kids. Oh, no. Oh, God. Oh, golly. Yeah, when you stim, you reduce your HP by 10, which means you die in 2 Adept hits and 2 Oracle hits instead of 3. Which, those Marines evaporated pretty quickly after that misguided choice. And suddenly, Clem's basic early pressure has been countered exponentially. Showtime comes across the... And the thing is, all Showtime lost were a couple probes on his side and Adepts. He only lost Adepts. He still has Oracles. Oracles are almost never not useful. You got Stasis Ward, you got Revelation, and you also can kill things. Like, what can't they do? Shoot up. Well, okay. But besides that, why can't they fly higher? Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Moving on. So this is... There's no way Clem thinks this will do damage, right? This is kind of like I have to at least make you scared of an attack. There's no way. Like, he has +1, he has stim. Yep. Well, he didn't know what he was looking at. So, to be fair. Now that he does, immediate retreat. He's gonna work around the side, but Showtime isn't in quite a... There are no Whittle Mines to save Clem right now. Uh-oh. Oh, this is sad. Alright. I mean, he stims, but it's still kind of that scenario of... That's not what I meant by shoot up, boys. Oof. Ooh, oh, medevacs. A little late. A little late. What is the nature of the medical emergency? Oh, I guess you gotta take risks now. He lost much of the bio and the rest. Well, if he could get the Forge. The Forge is kind of a big deal. Getting the Forge and getting out would be pretty huge. He gets it before +1, the blink, and he gets out. And that is exact... How many times do I... Calm down, my voice, all right? It's not worth it. Yes, it's worth it. How many times do I have... Why the edge of the main? You've been doing so good, Showtime. You've been putting all your shit at your natural, and then the one time that he puts it in the corner of his main, of course, the only thing Clem could do is snipe something on the corner of the main. On the other side of the base, no way. If it was at the natural, not a chance. But the corner of the main, that is the only place Clem could do damage. And of course, that's where his critical first upgrade, his +1, which now, not a coincidence, he's down +1 to +0. And suddenly Clem, instead of being in a mediocre spot at best, with a desperate tank push, has a real chance of winning the war of attrition against this Protoss army. Even with charge, even with blink, 1-1 Terran is potentially enough. It depends. It depends on a lot of things. It depends on the angle. Oh, he picks up. Oh, Clem with the tactical withdraw about 1 second before it would cost him everything. Oh, he baits the blink. Who baited who? Who's jumping who? The choke point. A rock in a hard place. But once again, for who? Chasing things down. Remember the concussive shells from earlier. They're coming into play now. Building armor is on the way for Clem. Is it he just didn't build an armory, so he's like, fuck it. Like, building armor was the choice over getting an armory? Are you kidding me, Clem? Build a goddamn armory. You Terrans and your weird principles. It costs as much to get building armor as it costs to get an armory, so I have no... I'm on my high horse here. I hope I don't fall off and have to pay some medical bills, because unlike Clem, it would be tough to afford extraneous things like that. Why is it building armor and not an armory? Explain this to me. Meanwhile, Clem, trying to come in against 2 Colossi, Liberators and a tank. A bit of an awkward fight here. The tank getting a lot of hits in. 2 Colossi, but without Thermal Lance and without upgrades. There's not enough energy for a force field, I don't think. Oh my god. It is making me unhappy that Clem decided he could get building armor, but he couldn't get an armory. This is one of the most, unnecessarily Terran things I have ever seen. I don't even know, was it an accident? Can you misclick it? Anyways, 4 medevacs in the main. The Twilight Council is vulnerable, which isn't a huge deal, but it will slow down upgrades again. The Colossi are trying to step forward, but I think 3 Colossi with Thermal Lance and +1 is done now. I can't believe he's finished building armor. That has to be a mistake somehow. He has to have hit something somewhere. There's no way he's like, building armor, that's what I need. That way my turrets, they wouldn't even survive more Oracle attacks, because the Oracle attack is spell damage. So, my non-existent bunkers, that has to be a mistake. But the real story here is that lack of upgrades, combined with the mobility of Clem's army, means that Showtime has had to play defensive in a position where he probably could have closed it out by now. It's just small groups of Protoss are not going to trade well with a better upgraded Terran. Clem, build an armory. Build it, please. You build an armory. Clem's like, no, I'm going back to my roots, which is losing to Protoss in the late game because I refuse to build an armory. Like, an armory killed my father. So never again. Like, metaphorically, my father's fine. He's very supportive of my career, but he also said build an armory, and I want to spite him because I'm in my rebellious teenager phase. God damn it, Clem! Or as the French say, les armories. I'm like, Showtime, he's just slipping now. Now, here's where the building armor is going to come into play. DTs with blink. The scan, but he blinks away. Showtime's army moving into the right side. Planetary with building armor. Neosteel army, technically, rather. Is it building or Neosteel? Either way, same effect. Gonna be driven back. Clem has enough for now. He starts his armory. I continue to seethe. Clem follows the DTs all the way into the corner, just lets his planetary and all the SCVs die. He's decided we're base trading, which many times I'd say, okay, base trading as a Terran, but like, it feels like this could have been set up a little better. Well, we're doing this. An appropriate Game 5 after a meticulous and dramatic back and forth exchange. Showtime doesn't notice. The disruptors don't find the hits. Much of the tech is vulnerable, including a forge that finishes +2. That may become a factor. Colossi taking a lot of hits. Disruptors knock out the tanks. 42 SCVs slaughtered. But the probes are next on the chopping block. The main base, the Colossi, still intact, but many of them badly bruised. Dark Shrine, kind of an important point. Not as important since ghosts are on the field. The army supply is still about even. The refugee SCVs are still looking to circumvent the potential GG as Clem in the main base of Showtime. He depowers essentially all of the gateways. Showtime, while he has an economy, he no longer has an ability to really warp in units. His last units will be warped in over near his 4th. He has it. There's one DT. You got to be careful not to EMP your own ghosts. That is a real threat. That is a real potential issue. Clem is floating his goddamn buildings. There's still a few SCVs in the main. The thing is, while Showtime has money, Clem has gutted the production. Showtime's sending a probe over to repower it. But I think this game may be decided before that. EMP finds one of the DTs. There's more in the mix. That's still 4 Colossi. EMP's not dealing with the rest. Showtime forcing him to push back. Guardian Shield getting involved. Showtime wipes the floor. And Clem, building armor or no, not going to be able to come out on top. Showtime holds the line. A well-played series, I gotta say. Honestly, that whole series, even the games he lost, like, there were some mistakes, but they were not, like, bad decisions. Showtime is a player who doesn't really make bad decisions. He just isn't always as quick to the punch. Once again, you don't get called the wall because you're an aggressive, in-your-face type of player. Oh my god, that wall came out of nowhere. It's not something people usually say. But, well played. The winner of this ESL Open Cup puts Clem back in his place for a while. If you enjoyed my commentary, like and subscribe and ring all of the bells and fill out 5 stars and OnlyFans and all of that. Thank you for watching. Good luck, have fun. Stay tuned.